everybody, it's good to be back. It's my first attempt again at something different, and this is a homebrew Wednesday. So I had a few things that needed to be done today. So one was to keg up the Wee Willie Weason that we made a couple of weeks ago in my first video. Okay, let's have a look at what happened in the brewery this morning. Okay, so we're panning around a little bit closer at the moment, and there's the first of the kegs that we're going to be filling shortly, and a few more over here and around here from the door. There's a close-up of the setup I have here for the both fermenting and conditioning. It's just a standard fridge, big enough to take a decent sized fermenter, in this case a 60 litre, and the temperature is controlled by this little gear up here. Absolutely fantastic. Alright. So as you can see, we're looking down at the tops of the kegs now. We hope to get about, 2.5 to 3 kegs today of finished beer. And one of the first things we do, of course, is check to see whether it maintains pressure. I cleaned and pressurised these about a week ago, and that's a really good sign that the keg's certainly in good state for use. So every last bit of pressure out or it's not going to open. There we go. Get rid of some of the sanitizer and we're in business. So we're going to grab one of our hoses, the shorter one at this stage. Sanitise both inside and out. So see who's actually grabbed the longer one. We don't really want that one. Let's go for the bottom. There we go. This is a new silicone hose. It's a bit thicker than the old ones, and it's sadly not clear, so we can't really see what's going on. But as I say, it's sanitised inside and out. It's long enough to reach. Yeah, better sanitise that. It's long enough to reach the bottom of the keg. That's very important, and it's under, as we just said before, that blanket of CO2. Now I'm just going to loosen this top off a little bit because I don't actually have an airlock on here at the moment, and off we go. This has already been in conditioning mode for about 2 weeks nearly. After the first 4 days of very rapid fermentation, it died right down and had already achieved a final gravity of about 1011, and I think it may even go lower, which is quite a long way for me. It's also, of course, a yeast Weinsteffen, one that I'm not actually used to using. So yeah, interesting. It's a wheat beer. It's supposed to be cloudy. I have a funny feeling that looking at this that it could be a lot clearer than cloudy, but hey, if it tastes good, hints of clove and banana, I'll be very happy with that, because I haven't actually added anything to this one. When I make Belgian wits, I tend to add coriander and candied tangerine peel, things like that. But this one, I'm relying purely on the flavours. For flavour, I'm relying purely on the yeast and the temperatures that I use to process it. So as you can see, it's coming along fine. This isn't caving in, which is a good thing. And even though you can't really see through it, you can see that it's travelling very well. As I say, the first couple of kegs on gravity very easily because they're still below the level of the conditioning vessel. But the last one involves a bit of heaving around, so we won't be doing that one on camera. Alright. Nearly there. Okay. I don't know whether you can see in there, but the level is coming up. I'm trying a couple of different angles there, not too successfully. Hopefully as we come up to the top we'll be a bit clearer. It's very important to remember you need to leave a little bit of headspace in the top of your keg. Ah yes, you can just see it swirling around there, and we're almost at the point where I'm happy with that as full. Okay. Alright, so that's off for a moment, and before we even fill the next kegs we will seal and process this one. Okay, And now it's time to seal and add some CO2 to carbonate. So this will be another process that we're going to be talking about in a moment. Hi folks, I realised about halfway through this that some of the footage I took is the sound is very badly compromised by the fact that I had my favourite radio on. You saw that in the first video. I do apologise about that, but it's fairly important as part of the story, so bear with the sound. It gets back to normal a bit later. Okay? Happy Homebrew Wednesday. That's what happens when you have a beer. Cheers. Check the lacing. Hey? My new Wiesen. Folks, big Tony back in the picture, not my face. What we have here is one of the spare CO2 cylinders which I use for processing. I've got it set just around about, looks at 300, it's actually closer to 200 in reality, kPa, and the beer that we've just kegged is at 2.5 degrees Celsius. If I actually gas this up through the spear in the keg for around 3 minutes at 200 kPa, it will be beautifully carbonated. It's very, very simple. So I have two outlets on this particular cylinder. One, of course, a gas outlet for driving kegs, and the other one, an outlet disconnect so that I can actually feed gas through the spear. So here we go. A few important things to consider when you're doing this, especially if you don't have a lot of headspace and you want to avoid it sort of exploding everywhere, is every now and again let off a little bit of that gas to make more room for the gas to come up through the cold beer. As you know, the colder the liquid, the more CO2 it can absorb. So there are sums that you can look up online, I can't remember where to search for them, that explain how to calculate your carbonation. I find this method works very well, and when used with sort of standard home brew dispensing gear, it can be driven at around 90 to 100 kPa very comfortably. Okay, that's getting fairly quiet. Every time it sounds quiet, it's a good time to let a little bit of gas out, because it means it's finding trouble to absorb the gas. And as I said, if you've got the keg rather full, with small head space, it can actually explode, which I will let you see, because the first one I did for you today went everywhere while I was talking to you guys, so you can see what can happen if you're not careful. We have about 2 more minutes on this, so of course we won't keep going for the whole thing. You have to get and the mirror code is actually more. Well, back in the brewery for the afternoon job today. We kegged the beer this morning, the Wiesen. I know I'm a bit out of shot again, but that's intentional. You should be able to see the fridge door. This, up until now, has been strictly for fermenting and for conditioning. But as of this weekend, we have a party coming up next weekend. I need some more tap space, more keg space, so it's temporarily becoming another kegerator. So the first thing we need to do is pop a decent hole in the door here to fix a tap to. Now fortunately I bought taps and bits and pieces, I don't know, 8 months ago, so we're all ready to go. Now, just making sure I'm not about to hit something I shouldn't hit, and I'm thinking around about here. There's a reason for that. There is actually, in the middle of the door, there's a central stud that I don't wish to touch. So here we go. And there we go. My goodness me, not at all. Not bad at all. Something falling down there. I don't know whether you guys can see that. It's a reasonable hole. It's a tiny little bit out there, but I think it's going to work just fine. Okay, going to grab the tap now. This is just a basic tap. The hole may be very slightly too small. Not a huge problem. There are ways of opening these things out fairly easily. See how we go. Not too bad at all. Next one. We're certainly on track. Absolutely fantastic. Couldn't have asked for a better result actually. Very, very happy with that. A little bit of the door insulation stuck on the threads, but not too bad. Seems to be going on just fine. Lazy way of clamping it. That's not too bad. Beautiful. Okay. we're going to clean off the back of the tap there. I've got a damp cloth with a little bit of sanitizer on it, and we'll just run that around the thread. I don't know whether that's in shot or not, but just run that around the thread, make it clean. And just in case there's a few specks in there, we'll just give that a bit of a thing. We'll give it a rinse anyway. Okay, how quick was that? My God. Okay, now fillings. We've got to get the beer from the keg, of course, to the tap. And for this purpose, I'm using very simple push-on fillings. You know the sort, I think. So here we have a outlet with a nice rubber washer that conveniently fits perfectly on the back of the tap, which I'm just going to tighten. I think that's okay. We won't really know till we run some fluid. I'm using this, it's a very small bore. I won't be able to show you on the screen, but it's the external diameter remains pretty normal for these sorts of fittings, but the internal diameter is very small, and in fact the effect of that is that you can use a much shorter length of tubing to get your beer from the keg up to the tap and reduce the foaming and foaming. Although with the beer we have today, of course, you also have to remember it is a wheat beer. With the wheat in there, it holds a lot more. There we go, that's just push straight in, that'll come out, push straight into that fitting. Now we'll do that on that keg again. So clean up after this. Whoa, that fitting is clearly not working too well. Well, thanks a lot. These are supposed to be foolproof, clearly not. Well, goodness me, 2 lots of beer, but that's why you check it all, eh? Alright, I'm going to pop that in. It's no longer leaking. Don't need gas for a minute because there's some in there. I'm going to grab a glass and I'll be right back. I think there'll be a fair bit of editing on this take. Okay guys, here we go. We'll just see. It's a bit over gas, but we'll just see how we go. Wow, all head. But we won't waste that. And there we go folks, while you were away I took the opportunity to pop a little drip tray under the tap, and I've just continued to pull that first beer. It's a little bit heady at the moment, it's a wheat beer, but that doesn't worry me greatly. I'm going to give it a second or two to settle down. I'll finish that shortly and it'll be time to cheer you all on for Homebrew Wednesday. Happy Homebrew Wednesday everybody. Lovely to have you all on board. Cheers. My goodness me. So this is the Wee Willy Weason that we made, as I said, about 3.5 weeks ago, something like that. It was the subject of my first ever brew video called the DP Brewery. So, wow, I'm very happy with this. Cheers. And now folks, finally, time for the bloopers. See you next time everyone. Bye bye. And now is to carbonate our beer. And as you can see, I'm going to pop this onto one of these kegs, which has the wheat beer that we did a little while ago. Yep, that's definitely working. I think you all saw what happened there.